Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood, feeling blessed.
Alrighty, good morning to you. We are going to spend this week taking our data from our Ms. Pacman tournament, which is, by the way, still going on. I've got the entire first round complete, most of the second round, but all we need for today's activity is first round, so we're going to be able to get started. So what we're going to basically be doing here is we're going to take the data from the Ms. Pacman tournament in 4 different rounds, and we're going to analyze that data. And if you look on the Google Classroom, you will see this very document. Let me actually move this guy out of the way here. You'll see this document with all the directions for all the different parts. And what we're going to do is we're going to take each part and we're going to only focus on one part per day. And today is part 1 for Monday. Tomorrow, I will show you how to create a circle graph. Wednesday, we will find the mean, median, mode, and range, and I will show you how to take a Google spreadsheet to make this job much, much easier. And on day 4, we're going to create a parallel box plot to compare rounds 1 and 2 and see what we can learn from all that. I have an online tool that you can use here, as well as with the circle graph, so that we don't have to do everything from scratch. We'll let our technology and our tools help us create what we need to create for this project. Part 5 for Friday is just basically making sure everything is done neatly. I highly recommend that you do this work in your journal, not on a Google Doc, although you could do it on a Google Doc. I mean, just someplace where it's going to be saved and you'll be able to reference it, because this is a big deal right here. This data will be used for your Chapter 8 test. All of the questions on the Chapter 8 test are going to pertain to data displays created for this particular project. And if you've done all the work accurately, you should be able to look at the problems on the test, and you should have no problem getting an A on the test. If you made mistakes, well, I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully, you'll be able to figure that out. If you have any questions along the way, please don't hesitate to ask me. But I don't think you're going to be making too many mistakes, because I think this is going to be very straightforward, and you're going to be able to use those tools to help you as we go. So, starting today, we are going to create a frequency table and a histogram for round 1. So I've taken all the results from round 1, and I decided to play as well, because the last person whose score that I entered, actually I might have randomized, it may not have been Morgan, but that was only 19, and 19 is a terrible denominator to have for some of the work that we're going to do. So I added in my score, and unfortunately I'm not as good as some of you, so I am not playing in round 2. I did not make the cut. The top 8 moved on to round 2, but I do represent the 20th score, so having a denominator of 20 is going to make our lives much nicer. Okay, so something I want you to focus on, but this is not a project where you're actually writing out essays and turning this in. In the past, we had group work for this, and students typed up their responses and cut them out and put it on a really cool Ms. Pacman display. I'm sure you probably remember, many of you probably came into my classroom and saw those. These are just questions to consider, and this is stuff I want you to think about, because these questions may show up at least exactly, or at least partially on the test. So if you've had a chance to think about these questions and you understand how to answer them based on the data that you see, then you're probably going to get the answers correct on the test. Okay, so create a frequency table and a histogram. We got 20 scores here. A frequency table is that table where you break up the data into intervals. And then you count up how many of those items are in each interval. And there's no one perfect way to do these intervals. So I'm going to write interval here, and then we're just going to tally those up here. So let's see, the intervals, we have something that's called bin widths. You'll see that a bit in some of the work that you do, especially when you get on to high school. Bin widths are like, what are the intervals? Do you want to count by thousands? I don't think so, because the Ethan's score is 23,000. We'd have to have like 23, 24 sections here. If you want to count by 5,000s, that's actually a pretty good one. You could count by 10,000s as well, but you're only going to have one in the 20,000 range, and you have like 6 in the 10,000 range. So I think a bin width of 5,000 would be good here. So what that means is our intervals are going to go from 0 to 4,999. And then the next interval starts at 5,000 and goes to 9,999. And then the next one starts at 10,000. Then we've got a 15,000. Then we've got a 20,000. I think that's all we need, because Ethan's score is in the 20,000 range, not 25,000 range. So this is going to be 10,000 to 14,999. Goes from 15,000 to 19,999. And then this goes to 20,000 to 24,999. So basically what I do is this. I just check off each one of these. So here's an 11,000. That's going to go in this. Check that off. There's a 23,000. That's going to go in here. Check that off. And what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to pause right now, and I want you to just put little tick marks in each one of these. And when you come back, see if yours matches mine. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause mine as well, and fill in all these tally marks. Okay, welcome back. So I've filled in all of my tallies. And so now what do we have? Looks like we got 6 people scored in this region. We have 5 people scored in that region, 2 people in this region. Looks like 6 in this one, and 1 here. And you know what all those have to add up to, correct? These have to add up to 20, because we want to make sure we've got all 20 players accounted for. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 makes 20. Good. Okay. So the next step is to put this piece of information into a histogram. So with a histogram, we want to set up kind of like a graph, right? And we want the bin widths to be 5,000. So we're going to have the x-axis of this histogram is going to represent the scores that you could have gotten, and the y-axis is going to be the frequency. Now, the greatest number of people in any given interval is 6, so all we really need to do is make this go all the way up to 6. Oh, that's terrible. What did I do? Ooh, maybe I can do this. Yes. Yes. Okay, and then this is 1. Very good. And what would this be? This would be the 0 to 5,000. This would be the 10,000. This would be the 15,000. Now, I'm going to run out of space. Oh, maybe not. 20,000. But I have no intention of finishing this. Let's slide this guy over to there. Move this guy up a little bit. And this one would be your 25,000, right? Okay, so what you're going to do for your histogram is you're going to take this frequency number, and you're going to create your bars to fit in. And if you need to go back and look at some previous histograms that we've worked on, we were working on them within the last week or so. I think last week, Monday, Tuesday, we worked on some histograms. You should have some M&Ms that show how histograms are supposed to look. Remember, they're just bar graphs. but there's no space in between because each bin, being 5,000, is going to take up the entire bar. So go ahead and do that, and then think about which interval had the greatest number of participants, which one had the least. I think you can look at the frequency table to figure that out. And then what percent of the participants were in each one of these intervals. So 6 out of 20, 5 out of 20, 2 out of 20. Just be aware of those questions and those answers. Look at the histogram to see if you can kind of get an idea of what the median score might be, or the mean score, by looking at how your histogram looks. Just think of those things. So tomorrow we are going to get into part number 2. I will finish this and we'll kind of breeze past it tomorrow. So, you can pause the video and you can look and see if you've got yours looking the same as mine. If some of you wanted to do intervals or bin widths of 10,000, where you went from 0 to 9,999, then you would have 11 in that first interval. And then the 10,000 to 19,999, you would have 8 in that interval, and then you'd only have 1 in the third interval. So some of you might have different looking histograms. It just depends on how you want to set up your intervals. You don't have to necessarily do it like mine. But this is probably going to be the most popular one. All right, go ahead and finish this work for part 1, and good luck with everything. Hopefully you're going to get everything perfect, and then tomorrow we will start in with the circle graph part 2.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, walk around the neighborhood.